my name is Patrick Valancourt, and I'm 24 years old, and this is my puppy, Rhea. She's 3 months old, and we're looking to live in this van full-time. In about 2 weeks is the move-in date. I was in the military. I'm a veteran, and I'm escaping homelessness by living in this van. So it's on the streets or in this van, and I think this is the best choice.
So what was the van like when you got it?
It was actually fully renovated. I got it in Squamish. Fully renovated, had a sink, had a 3-burner stove, a propane tank on the side. I took it home and I was like, this is kind of what I wanted. It was all wood paneling. It was pretty nice. And then when I took it home, I found lots of flaws with it. And so I just gutted it. I don't know. I kind of got carried away. I could have been a little more strategic about it, but I just took everything out. Took the stove out, took the propane tank off of the side, and I just wanted to build my own. And as a vet who's on disability, I don't work, so all of my days, all of my time is free, and I was kind of probably subconsciously looking for a project, and this has kept me busy for the entire summer, and I'm glad, stay out of trouble and just build my home. So this bed was actually built twice. I had originally a slat pull-out bed, and it was too wobbly, so I took it out and just built this one in a day. Here I've got these little boxes. So this fits a double mattress. It's 75 inches by 54, I believe. So then I had 10.5 inches of space here. So I built this first compartment, has Rhea's food and cleaning supplies. And then this has just some simple bowls and cutlery right now, which is going to be moved somewhere else. And then here is games, sound bar. I've got a handheld projector here that runs off of a portable battery. So that's pretty cool to have in the van. And then the last bin is my clothes. This here is actually all the way to the end of the bed. That was the barricade that I had, but I don't want that because I want the dog to be where the bed is right now. So I'm gonna probably take this piece of wood. After living in the van, well, not living, but traveling in the van for weekends and stuff, I figured that the best spot to have my cooking arrangements are actually right here. So I'm gonna bolt this table or this wood onto the wall, and it's gonna come down so I can do all the cooking right here, because this is where the cooking is being done right now, on top of my battery storage bank. But as you can see, that's where the wood stove is going to be, to save space because it is minimalist living. I'm actually gonna mount that probably around this height if I can, and have a little bit of table space. But yeah, right now the cooking is all done right here, but I'm gonna shift it all to right there. The one thing that I'm actually really proud of is everything is off of solar. I've no propane, no butane, none of that. The stove is actually right behind you. It's a 1-burner induction stove top. So the max that runs off of is, I think, 1800 watts at its highest setting. And under here is my battery bank. So I've got two 200 amp hour batteries, 2000 watt power inverter, and then just some supplies and stuff. But there's my charger right there. So it's that if I plug it in right now and let's say we cook pasta, I'll have to put it at a boiling setting, and that'll bring the battery percentage down immediately to 50%. So it drops about 15, almost 20%. And then once it simmers, it starts to go back up. So after I do the cooking, after one full meal of 10 minutes of cooking, I lose maybe only 3 or 4% battery. So it's just an initial surge of power, and then after that it's just cruising. So that's pretty cool. I've got this fridge right here, fridge freezer, Dometic, 50 quarts, and that runs off of absolutely no battery. Hasn't gone below 70% in the past 2 days, and it's been rainy and overcast. So that's awesome. I don't have to worry about blowing the power inverter or any fuse, because everything is like a 2,000 watt inverter, and I just do the calculations in my head. I don't have too many things plugged into that at a time, so just really careful about where I'm using my power and what I'm using it for.
And how much watts do you have of solar?
Right, yeah, that's a good one. 300 watts. So I've got 2 panels up here, and then 1 panel that goes across right here. And as you can see, the cables are here, and don't tell anyone, but I've actually got a few leaks in here. Yeah, so I'm working on fixing those leaks. I did the mistake. They're flexible, thin panels, so they're like 2 pounds each. And I did like 20 self-tapping screws per panel, so like a bunch down the sides and then 2 at the top. Don't do that. Do not do that. Do not drill that. This is fiberglass, so it's really shitty. Like, it's super thin. I could probably punch a hole through it. I've been waiting for it to stop raining so I can just take off all the screws, seal it properly. I've gone through 4 different types of silicone sealing, sealant stuff, and like 5 bottles of each kind, and I can't fix it. So yeah, sell the van. Fix it when it stops raining. Yeah. And then down here, this is my favorite box right here. So this is my weed box, my medicinal stuff. So I've got all the oils right there, all the dry leaf right next to it, a vape on the far left, all that stuff. I've got a paddle board right behind the weed box. I've got my guitar, I've got my induction stove box, I've got a couple lawn chairs. I'm gonna be dividing under the bed, so basically right under us, under the bed, I'm gonna have a piece of plywood that goes from one wheel well all the way to the other, to the ground. And that's so the dog passed out, doesn't go all the way back. This morning she like went on top of the lawn chairs and pissed all over it, and whatever, that's what dogs do, right? So I don't want that anymore. And the stuff that's at the very back, like paddleboard, outdoorsy things, that's all gonna be only access from outside the double doors. If it's raining, I don't need to go out and get a paddleboard, so I don't need to open this door and slide it out from under. So just gonna have a clear division between things that I kind of need on a rainy day and things that like I don't, like if I have skis, right? Got a season pass to Whistler, so when the leaks are fixed, I'm gonna be probably camping out at Whistler for I don't know, hopefully a couple weeks at a time, and hit the slopes and then just get skis. That's further down the road, so I don't even think about that right now. But yeah, the van, when I got it, needed a lot of improvements. I've had to put a new carburetor in, so that's the engine bay, right behind, well, right in between our seats. I put in a new radio with Bluetooth. I have mental health illnesses, right, from the military. I got PTSD, anxiety, and depression. That's why I have all that medicinal marijuana. The certain things about the build of this van have just given me so much more anxiety. Well, I've just like heightened it. One is the radio. I bought it and the cords were just hanging loose, and they said that you just need to get speakers, but the radio I had checked out, didn't work at all. So I had to install a new radio. I took the whole dash out, like everything that I've done about this van, put in a lot of work. I have no prior experience. That's just like when you try to do something that you don't know what you're doing and you just keep failing, it just kind of gives you some anxiety. And for someone who has pre-existing anxiety, that wasn't a lot of fun. So I just like caved in one day and I just bought a $200 radio and like $70 speakers, and I installed it. It was just like got rid of the headache. So for future times, I know to do things a little differently if I want to kind of save money, but it's money or a headache, and for a lot of this van I've chosen, let's just avoid the headache. So yeah, brand new carburetor, brand new radio, brand new speakers. Gonna be doing a rear view camera because my right mirror doesn't work right now. It's very loose. My windshield wipers blew, the motor, everything that I like. I build a bed and then 2 other things in the van break. So yeah, welcome to van life.
So tell me a little bit more about why and how you discovered van life, and like why you decided it was the right thing for you.
When we first started talking, you were doing van life, and that was pretty cool. I don't think I had much interest or talked about it, at least when we last met, about van life. But it was like simmering there. And then this guy I met, Brody, he lives in Nanaimo. He lives in a van, or lived in a van. And that was just kind of cool. And then when I met my girlfriend, Madison, one of the first things we did after like a week and a half of knowing each other, we did a road trip to Tofino in her like tiny Sunfire car. And we stayed, and we just pulled the seats back and we just like stayed between the back seats and the trunk. And that was like my first time camping in a car, like very minimalist, like very, let's just go to Tofino. We just kind of met, let's do it. And it was really fun. And then situations in my life kind of changed where I had an option. It was get something really cheap to live in. Apartments and renting and stuff wasn't an option, or live on the streets. And so I bought this, took a bit of a financial hit, and then just started renovating it. And a lot of it was like from you, from Brody, from meeting and going on that trip with my girlfriend Madison. Just like, I had never pictured myself living in a van before moving to Vancouver Island. And then situations just kind of happened. I met people, and then bada bang, living in a van.
So how was the transition for you being getting into this? You know, this is as much space as you have. You can only accumulate so many things in a space like this. How has the transition for you been going into a minimalist lifestyle like this?
Pretty easy. I mean, when I used to live in Toronto, and then when I moved here in June 2017, I came with 2 suitcases, my backpack that had my camera gear, and my guitar. And when I was in Toronto, I was renting a room in a mansion. Sounds glorious. Wasn't. And it was like actually not that much bigger than this. Probably just like 2 vans, but standing up space. There was no bed that was 2 feet off the ground, right? I lived on a Japanese futon mattress that had this much padding, and when you slept on it, it had that much padding, and it was just foldable. That was like, I lived on the ground in Toronto. And then in the military, you know, you're tenting, you're sleeping in the bush, you know, you dig a hole, that's your bed. So I'm like kind of used to minimalist living. This is definitely different than living in a small house, because you can't just go into another room. If I want to go outdoors and it's raining, that's it. Like, if I want to get out of my little space, I have to go in the elements. I think it'd be a lot better. I'm a little stressed right now, like the past week, just because of the leaks. I think that's like kind of normal, and a normal thing to go through is like stress and anxiety because fucking home is leaking. But other than that, everything is like super cool. This is 90% of my belongings. This right here, like how much storage there is right now, all of that stuff, this is 90% of what I own. So 2 people can move in here. Fuck, 3 people. Like, I don't have very much. So I'm kind of used to it. And my little pal right here, Rhea, she keeps me company. So it's good. I don't really have much to complain about van life or like the minimalist living or the idea of it. It's pretty cozy.
So you mentioned a couple times that like the leaks are stressing you out. Doing those van repairs kind of caused you a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is actually going to end up being a positive step in your mental health? Because you talked about also having PTSD and these mental health kind of issues. Do you think this is going to be a positive thing, being in a van, or?
Yeah. I'm like driving through this town. So in Victoria, there's a lot of people, and like I don't know how I ever fucking lived in Toronto. It blows my mind. Like the weirdly placed stop signs, the traffic, the amount of people. It's just like it's driving me nuts, as you can see. And I've been here for a few hours. Living in a van gives me, like, I can just go wherever and seclude myself. And it sounds like unhealthy to just isolate yourself, but I've got my dog. I've got fridge. I've got everything I need, and just taking my home and like planning on going in the woods for X amount of periods of time. And that's what I need right now. So this is the project of the van itself has created some speed bumps in my mental health, but all in all, it's been kind of good because I've been distracted from other things. So instead of being up at night because of, you know, past experiences, I'm up at night because I got a fucking leak in my roof. So it's like, you know, I'm fighting fire with fire, and the van is kind of prioritizing everything in my life right now. And the dog, so it's less concerned about previous things, more concerned about right now, which probably not super healthy, but it has improved. My mental health is like kind of improved, I guess. And I think this is like the right move for me. I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't. I don't know. Yeah.
And if you had to sum up, what would your personal philosophy on life be?
I've spent a lot of my life, even like yesterday, probably even today, and probably tomorrow, doing things to kind of please others. And there's like some give and pull. You can't just be a selfish prick. But if you have an idea of what you want to do in life, this is super cliche, you know where it's going, but like, do it. You know, Nike said it. I think I said that last time too. I quoted Nike. Damn it. Nike has it right. Like, just do it. If you want to live in a van, set your life up so that you can do that. If you want to live on a boat, if you want to get an apartment, if you want to make this amount of money, if you want to achieve this in life, like, it's actually achievable if you have a plan. I did not expect this to be the outcome of what I had. Like, when I had gutted it, I was like, oh my god, I fucked up. Like, I should not have taken everything apart. And then I found a way to do it, and I had a plan. You know, this day I'm going to do this day I'm going to do that. And now I have a kind of like cool setup in life. I'm pretty happy. I live pretty much off the grid, or at least I'm capable of doing that. You know, I'm going to have my heat right there with the wood stove. I got my power supply. I've got my fridge. I've got my dog. Just stock up for like, you know, 2 weeks is probably sufficient, and I can go and do what I want, and that's what I want. So that's, turn that into stuff about me, but philosophy on life is just do it. Whatever you want. Like, don't listen to your best friend who says, man, you can't do that, you're not going to get that job, you're not going to do well in that program. Just do it. Whatever you want, do it.
Sweet. And where can people find you if they want to follow your journey?
It's on the side of the van, PBJ Valancourt. Instagram, YouTube, it's all that same stuff. So
my name's Nikki and this is Kayla.
Hi.
We got evicted from our house in Victoria, and it was kind of a long story, lack of communication. Anyway, we had our last year of nursing, which is right now, that we need to finish, and we looked all over. Like, we looked everywhere for houses, and we couldn't find anything. So we basically held hands and jumped and bought this RV, our motorhome or van, whatever you want to call it.